Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another presentation here in the Issues Room, the 145th edition. We'd like to welcome you all over the world, wherever you are, in your living room, driving, wherever you're picking up signal. We say thank you for joining us. Tonight's conversation will be another great one. I can tell you that we have a presidential aspirant. As you and I know, the elections is around the corner in Liberia, and it's taking place on October 10th this year. And a lot of folks are throwing their hats in the race. And Dr. Telford Ammons will be joining us here on this edition. He will be talking about the pragmatic uh, situations in the country and those things that need immediate address and how he intends to address some of those things. One of the key things he was talking about behind the scene is electricity, because people just don't have enough. And without electricity, we cannot industrialize our country. So to say it, the fact is, that's one of the agenda. Of course, he wants to clean up the country because the filth, the dirt's everywhere. He wants to ensure clean drinking water. He wants to ensure tax jurisdiction. People should pay tax, and not just the common man as it is now in Liberia. LRA is collecting taxes, but who they're taking the tax from? From only the common man. I'm sure those government officials who are building their palaces and high fences are not paying taxes. And some businesses, particularly if you were connected to the government, I'm sure people are not paying taxes. So all of these things we'll be looking at tonight. We'd like to say thank you for coming through, all of you, our viewers, wherever you are. Please invite others to come here tonight, join us. The other quick thing I'd like to say, Moses Sandy won't be joining us tonight. He's on our sister podcast platform on the podcast tonight. They'll be looking at the April 14, 1979. Uh, you know, that was where the demise of Liberia, and I use the word demise because we had killed more than 500,000 people since that time. And yet our country has not been able to regroup, to bounce back, and it has just been going backwards. So they will be discussing on that and the pros and cons of April 14, 1979. So Moses Sandy will be joining a group of panelists, including Dennis Jar at Focus on Liberia. Alphonso Nyenuh is momentarily joining me. He's going to be here, and both of us will be teaming up here tonight to have a conversation with Dr. Amos. But in the meantime, my good friend and brother, one of our discussants who've joined us repeatedly is in Liberia, visiting the country, and Mr. Francis K. Duno will be joining us very shortly again. So I'd like to welcome all of you wherever you are. Spread the link, invite others to join us here tonight. Great conversation. We also have the What Type of Country Is This? You know, that segment where we look at the things that are particular to our country, the things that we do different from everyone else in the world. And so we'll be looking at some of those humors. And it's our laugh therapy. And unfortunately, Moses is not going to be here tonight, but hopefully he might end up joining us during the latter part of the broadcast when we bring that component. We also have Memory Lane done by our man, Dr. Emanet Sumo, and we'll be looking at the same April 14, 1979. Just a little bit of teaser to bring you back into those days. So it's going to be a little nostalgic. So hang around and let's do this together. Let me join my man now in Monrovia, Liberia, at an undisclosed location in Monrovia. Mr. Francis Duno, welcome to our 145th edition Volcano. Shelton here with you tonight. I'd like to say thank you for making it possible, especially being in Monrovia. I know your electricity is on and off, and sooner or later you might end up to revert to using lantern for us to do the show, or a candle. How are we going to do this? Are we good? Are we good to go? Welcome.
First and foremost, I'm grateful to my God, and I want to say to you, it's a pleasure joining you from Banana Republic, I call it at this point. And I also want to say to all of our supporters, those of us that have engaged in this dangerous business called advocacy on behalf of Liberia and Liberians in and outside, Keep on your prayers. We are here. Everything is good, and not good in the context of the West, but it is good in the context of our human nature and the way we look at it from the standpoint of LRB capital. So we are good.
So
If
you
you go off, you will know that it is off.
okay. So you've been in the
Yeah.
country. How long have you been there already?
Typically I've been here like 2 weeks, 3 days today.
And how
Yeah.
much money left for you now?
The good news is I'm kind of somebody that I try to stay away from my usual emotion. Uh, Volcano, it has been tough here, especially some of us that witnessed the war and the era of chastity. It's been tough here, but today it is tougher. Honestly speaking, under a democratic government that the people elected, almost every single day there's a deficit, either on the basis of people getting sick as a result of hunger, or maybe the presidential convoy killed somebody, maybe, in fact, murder by people is probably on the hourly basis. If you go to JFK and go on the accident wall, they got a special spot for motorcyclists. Volcano, I don't care how strong you are, you're going to cry.
Hmm.
People are there, let's getting sold in no attention. Because the mindset here is that it is intentional. They don't care. I get it. That's true. Because I have purchased motorbike for family member and they use it for less than 1 year. They say the work was too hard. But the other question I asked them the last time was, yeah, I said, but we purchased a motorbike with a helmet and basic tools. Every single motorbike that is sold in this country, as ugly as Indian boys and Lebanese boys, investors, as ugly as they are, they do that. But why the government is not enforcing public safety through the police? That's another question. So you're not providing job opportunity for the people. The only job opportunity in Liberia right now that we see every single day, because every single day people are buying motorbikes, they are buying keke, motorbikes, and keke. That's it. To a point where the government told them to apply any part of the country, including the quote unquote Tournament Boulevard, Volcano. It is terrifying. Look, if I don't have nothing to do out there,
But tell
if
me,
I don't have anything to do out there, I
mhm.
mean, on the basis of priority, I'm not stepping out. Because if I step out with $100 or more than that, it's gonna finish before I come back. Because you see,
That was where I was taking you. I said,
you, you
how
see, you
solid is
see,
your
you, you
pocket
see
now?
some situation, it's
Okay,
just difficult for you to walk back
okay.
and pass. It is terrifying.
So overall, let's start from the airport. Your arrival, and how long have you been out of the country before going back, Francis?
Only the COVID days I didn't come here, to be
Okay,
honest. I was here last year. I spent
okay,
like 5 weeks.
okay.
I am here for 6 weeks this year, but I might shut it off, provided it doesn't cost me more money to get out earlier than expected or planned.
Mhm.
So the airport I couldn't leave because as usual now we got three traditional flight coming in. Only one come at early morning, which is Air Morocco. SM Brussels comes in late, and also Kenyan Airways comes in late. So obviously, I have to take a night at Farmington Hotel at the airport across the street. But to even cross the street was Wahala.
Hmm.
So I have 5 bags, originally two for me, and friends and family member the
That's
extra
when you
bag with me.
take that long.
So it was extremely difficult for me to take all these bags, get it out. I had money to pay people, which I usually do. I couldn't even get people to help me. So I saw this lady standing with that airport badge on her. I called, I said, "Man, come on. How you doing?" She said, "I'm doing all right." I said, "Man, you ain't even get self-service yet where we can put our bags on it. We pay. She said, "Oh, my brother, sorrow, but I'll be here." Now I started looking at her. Then I came back to my senses that I was on a different planet. Okay, Volcano, let's be real. As ugly as Shelton is there ahead of us, that thing you saw on Facebook about new airport in Shelton, that's true. It is true. But the other picture you saw that we get new airport in Liberia, it was not true. It's like dress by dress. So, quote unquote, the original airport, RRA, it was looking like a makeshift. Hmm? I mean, the waiting place, I call it. So what they just elevated the building. That's what they did. Then they called a new airport on the Joshua. And then Carrasco then went to Kenya and got some on the airport and put it on Facebook. That's what they did. But Salaluni actually built a new airport. And even when you use an airplane computer system that in front of the call TV, you actually see it there. But in the brain, you don't see that. And the same spot, yeah, the makeshift, you been here, yeah, the makeshift still standing there. They didn't even bust it. Whatever they're doing there, I do not know. And they just put down this small place here where they have from Delta Airline, and that's it. And even Delta wanted to do better, they took the money from them. They said, we'll do it. And that's how can Delta run away. And this other group came. The Air France under Joshua. And we all know Joshua lived in France for a little while, right? And the French people are the best people. But Air France to run away. Then they brought in Air Liberia. We didn't see the airplane, but we saw the cake and they ate it at the airport. So,
but so let's just do this quick because we got a guest.
So
Give the issues room, an overview, at least within the next 3 to 4 minutes, an overview of what you've seen so far. But put in one little positive at least. Find a positive. Don't get it or F. Just find something I want C to get it. I'm begging you. So we can
no. Let me be honest with you, Volcano. The only positive thing I can see here to be a little bit honest and competitive. We have human beings live other part of the world. There are human beings here.
Okay.
That's it. But the possibility of death is on the mini basis. Volcano, children as early as 5 years old, they are selling plastic bag. This is not something I'm telling about. I've been on the motorbike, myself acting dangerous just like them by using different psychology. So the psychology is every single motorbike owner want to go faster. The faster they go, they drop off that passenger, they pick up another passenger. So I already got the psychology. So I'm getting on the motorbike telling them, hey, gentlemen, I'm concerned with safety. If they get a helmet, I say, can I have it? I use it. I say, okay. How much from here to the next spot that I'm going? $50, I will give you $150. So the speed drop. How much can $100 extra give me? Liberian dollar. The rate right now is around $155. No, $165 actually to a dollar. So if I'm going to $50 distance, I'm making $150. If I go into $100 distance, I'm making $200. So it's stable. And guess what? I don't even ask them for composition. They give it to me free. I use a keke all the time. And this guy would tell me, the way the country looking now, that wouldn't want to put that man, they were taking down. On the free note. In fact, I had a friend of mine in the US who asked me to chat with their best friend here, who actually met at Lawyer Hotel. And she asked me, do you have a car? I said, no, I don't have a car. I'm using the same system using your LRB one time, okay? So we got in the test, then open conversation. I said, Jeremy, how you doing? Everybody okay? They say, everybody okay. Everybody voted. And then they turned to me, why are you asking everybody voted? I said, it's simple. We got to change the country. And I don't care who you want to vote for. I don't really care about that. But if you don't have a voter registration card, guess what? You're not going to vote. So even though Morovia has ended, or most other country, or the first phase has ended, but there could be a possibility where election commission will reopen across the country when they're done with phase 2. Maybe. So that's why everywhere I go, I caution people, encourage people, to register to vote, because that's the only way we'll change it. We change the carnage, the human carnage melted against us by people that we elected. It is terrible here. It is terrifying. People are even saying that they want Charles Taylor back instead of Joshua. Imagine that.
You know what they need to do? Get on a ferry or canoe and go to the English Channel and try to get out, man. But anyway, my man, thank you so much. You'll be here with us
Yeah,
next week, Tuesday.
yeah.
In fact, hopefully we can then expand on it because this was just a coincidence when you contacted me and wanted to just give us a quick synopsis. I don't want to keep
Mhm.
our guests long, and my colleague is already in studio. So thank you so much. Let's stay connected, and we'll catch up
Okay.
during the course of the week. But we guarantee that you will join us on Tuesday. So when the fly is cut, you will already be there. Okay?
Okay, my brother. Yeah, thank you plenty. We got to keep on doing what we are doing so we can improve a little bit too.
Yeah.
Because our three countries, let me just say quickly, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and Guinea. Ivory Coast, let me take them at their own part based on our standard. They are Europe for us. But Guinea and Sierra Leone ahead of this country.
Hmm.
It be common number address system. We can afford that. We can afford stable electricity for the seat of the government. We cannot afford running water for the seat of the government, and we are willing to pay. And we pay. And guess what? The big guy doesn't pay. Mary brought arrest ordinary people in the community for power theft. Buffer Shima stealing power. Joe Weir stealing power. Fonatico for your body stealing power. All the big guys stealing power. They don't pay shit. Okay. The ordinary we pay, ordinary people we pay. When it goes, my brother, there are no customer service. Just wait. You can't ask nobody. That is insanity. They're building roads. They don't even respect us. They all, the citizen to say, go on this side or go on. They play a left last year. EAW to Coca-Cola factory. It stayed the same place, my brother. No plan for lipo, not lipo, but street light. Nothing. The country is in Ziza. If you write animal farm, hmm,
I did animal farm in the ninth grade literature, so I
with
remember it.
accuracy and interest,
Hmm.
animal farm story is better than Liberia story today. I can tell you that for free. It is
Thank you.
better.
Thank you.
You think you plenty, yeah?
And
That's it.
honestly, we'll see what Dr. Ammons have to tell the Liberian people. Contrast to what you just said. All right. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Alfonso,
Yes, sir.
yeah, you kind of blurred tonight. I don't know what's
I
happening.
am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still
Oh,
fighting with your virtual.
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
got all kinds of blinks on you. Uh, you don't think you want to just go into your natural realm and let's go from there for the night until we get it straightened up?
Okay. So let's do that. Put
Yeah.
me back.
Okay. So let me quickly recognize some folks here before we join our studio guest tonight. Imani Sumo, Doc, thank you for joining us here. Fergie Moyu, as usual, it's good to see you. Kawu Gloria Voka Moba, it's good to see you. Great Thomas Awaji, I see you daydreaming. I saw a post from you showing, and I came in and said we want to have two full bridge and two half bridge around the city of Monrovia. Johnson Tucker and St. Paul are the full size bridges, and then you have the Tottenham, old Tottenham bridge that they did. They shot one over the water side there, and Jamaica Road, the new bridge that was put there by the Japanese. I think when they were building the highway going to red light. So that's all we got. And but we still got the whole city surrounded by water. So we got so much work to do. But it's good to see you, Thomas. Priscilla Myers, good to see you. Maria Gardel, thank you for joining us here tonight. Alexander Hayes, good to see you, my brother. And also Ram Snotton. Tonight, we hope that you guys can continue to share the link, invite others to join us here. We're looking forward to a great conversation. Thank you, Alfonso. It looks much better. Go down a little bit. Yeah, okay, you're good there. So listen, man, we have our guest in studio. Let's just hear from you, Minnie, since you already joined us.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't even realize it was it was me. It's great to be here again for Volcano. I mean, I listened to Mr. Donner describing his experience
Yeah.
in Liberia, and that's really heartbreaking. It's very important for us to do whatever we can do to, bring change and progress to that country.
Well, thank you, thank you. Listen, we've gone a little bit as anticipated. We're going to go at least 20 minutes in that excess conversation. Our guest here tonight is Dr. Telford Ammons. Dr. Ammons is a presidential aspirant. As we speak right now, he's in the country. I believe he's already done his voter registration because it's part of the process. Doc, welcome to the Issues Room. Your first time. I met you in Paris, France. At one point, you wanted to come, but we kept, missing each other, and we finally got you tonight to talk to us, to talk to the Liberian people, to talk with our viewership, just to tell us who is Dr. Telford Ammons. So, welcome. Take a minute or two and just give a summary of who you are, and then we'll start this conversation.
Well, Volcano, thank you so much for having me. And also, Alphonso, nice meeting you. I am Telford Ammons, born of 6 children. My brother next to me got killed in the war, and so did my sister. We have really been concerned about the direction in which our country is going. However, we'll talk about that later. But again, I owe about $174,000 in education payment for schooling. So I'll be asking for help to pay that money back, almost $200,000 that I owe for school. So I am educated to the point where I sometimes have to scratch my head and wonder, can I powder some of it and just give it away to somebody else?
Give it to some of the folks in government in Liberia, some of that education, right?
If they pay me for it, yeah, that'd be nice. But the thing about it is this, is that having a doctor behind your name means absolutely nothing in itself. Is something to be proud of, because that was conferred on me, but with a dissertation that I had to write, which is documented in a book that I wrote called Up from Liberia, that should be coming out anytime. So I have 5 children, 7 grandchildren, been married to the same woman for 33 years. And her name is Dieter Ammons.
Thank you. So, Alphonso, you want to gauge?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ammons. It's nice meeting you. Yep, you have a wonderful profile. First of all, sorry for the loss of your brother and sister during the war. Yeah, there's no amount of sympathy that can address that, but we can just say sorry about that. So you're running for president of Liberia. Why are you? Let's begin by saying, why are you running for president of Liberia?
Yes, I had no intention of running for president of Liberia because I'm mostly a business-minded person. I brought here in Liberia about 6 years ago $100 million in contract from a company called I've forgotten the name of the company by the way. Barger International. That's what it was. But this is a concession group that places different people together in a group, and then they get a loan from Congress, and then they are the overseers of that loan. And when they loan it out, they get paid that way from the interest that is paid over time. So it was $100 million contract that I brought to Liberia, and they told me put some money on the table first before we go ahead and do what we have to do. And I said, look, I don't have that kind of money to put on the table. They said, well, we heard you're a millionaire. I said, no, I'm not. They said, but you put
So
some money.
who's asking for the money now? Liberian people asking for the money.
What the BB people that are in
I
Liberia.
want to see. Yeah, okay. So okay, you bring in investment, but they want you to give graph.
Right.
Okay.
And so I said, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I would. And so they said, well, I said, the contract said you got to put down 2%, which is $2 million. They said, well, go come back and we'll talk. 3 days later, I was called and they said, well, we got $3 million for you. I said, no, it's $2 million. They said, no, 3 million, because 1 million will stay here with us and we either to divide it. I said, who are they? They called and these are 9 people. I said, but you said 10. What is the other person? Oh, you one of them too. You make up the 10. I said, I will have no part in taking the Liberian people's money and abusing it. This contract says $100 million, 2% down, that's 2 million. If I took 3 million, if you give me 3 million, drop 3 million in my account, and I left here and went to the United States, that contract they're going to audit it and find out that I got 3 million rather than 2 that I would turn in, and that's fraud. I would have no part to do with it. Based upon that, I decided, if they would not do for themselves, if people would not do for themselves what is necessary to live a better life, then by all means, we had bad managers.
Absolutely.
And if the bad managers are not looking out for the benefit of the Liberian people, then we need to change shit. So therefore, I decided, if there are bad managers who don't know what needs to be done for the Liberian people, then maybe I need to get on a ship and sail it in behalf of the Liberian people, and therefore I decided to go ahead and run for president.
So when you look at the existential themes on the ground, all of the issues, what were some of the burning issues that caught your eye, that you saw that you have the fixables to change if you were elected president? What are some of those things that caught your eye and that you want to address?
When I drove in a car from here to Grand Bassa County and still seeing mud houses on the road, that was very perplexing. When I drove from here and went to Ganta and seeing people still living in mud houses that we used to ride and say, oh, look at when we were kids, the people live in mud houses. And in 2023, our people, our brothers and sisters, are still living in mud houses today. Now, I'm not going to be pointing finger at no one. I'm not going to be pointing finger at the current government, because this has been an ongoing saga for a long time. But no one has been able to fix the situation simply because money has been diverted into other places and have not taken care fully of the Liberian people. So what I see on the ground are things that need to be fixed. Trash needs to be cleaned up. Houses need to be built. Bridges need to be connected. Roads need to be fixed and finished and constructed completely and done in such a way that it will not look like a third world construction or a first world type of a construction. We got long ways to go. And I'm going to go out there and start cleaning streets myself if I have to do it, so that the Liberian people will know that we are serious.
Much of what you talk about has to do with corruption. You talk about them asking you to, get in a bribery, deal with them. You also talk about, the houses are still remaining and much is not being done, including picking up trash and all of that. What is your plan in tackling corruption? Will you say, for example, if Dr. Ammons was elected president tomorrow, will you set up a process whereby you investigate and prosecute current and past government officials?
Has to be done. No country can move forward unless you are able to investigate and to audit. I would not take a set of books for anyone and would not audit the books that I receive, because the books that I received, later on, I can be blamed for the inefficiency or the discrepancy. I will not be responsible. Therefore, I will go ahead and audit. And if I find out that you took money that was misappropriated, I will ask you to put it back. And when I ask you to put it back, if you don't put it back, and it becomes an embarrassment to myself and to you, then we have to look at other type of punishable things to use, or punishable measure to use for you to put back that money. I don't want to have to go put people in jail for stealing or misappropriation. But I think we can do a good job if we got together and told people the things that you stole, the houses that you built, the cars that you bought with government money and not yours, put them back. They do not belong to you. They belong to the Liberian people. Having already done that, when I have done that, I will put together a plan so that the Liberian people will know that we are fiscally responsible, meaning there will be transparency and accountability. Because in a vibrant society where people need to be moving from point A to point B, the people's money must be accounted for, and we must tell them and show them the direction in which we are going.
Will you be prepared and ready to seize properties of people? Because one of the concerns in the country is that past and current government officials have amassed a lot of stolen wealth, and they built themselves huge mansions and buildings all over the country. Will you Dr. Telford Ammons administration be prepared to go and seize people's properties?
Once again, as I said before, if you use government money to enrich yourself, we will seize the property that you took that did not belong to you. That belongs to the Liberian people. I'm sorry, but that money, that house, that car, or whatever it is the Liberian people's property. You cannot take things that do not belong to you. We are servants of the people. They put us in power, or rather empower us in order for us to take care of the business. And if you cannot take care of the business, and at the same time while you're doing it, and you're robbing the people of Liberia, what happens is this: you end up robbing yourself. Because whether you live today or tomorrow, sometime at some point, all of us will be audited, and we'll find out that those properties did not belong to you, and they need to be returned. So I would say to those people right now who do have properties that do not belong to them, or that they use government money to build those houses and what have you, turn them back in, because an Ammons government will audit. And when they audit and found you wanting, we will make sure that there are consequences for doing that was inappropriate against the Liberian people.
So let me come in quickly. I know, Alphonso, you probably want to, but I'm just concerned here. You know, it's easy for anyone to declare their intention to run for the Liberian presidency, because we don't have to weeding out process anybody, any Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? But some of the things that we want to consider is, what makes you better than Joe Boyka? What makes you better than George Weah? What makes you, and I use the word better not in the context of the human makeup, but the character, the qualification, the likability factor, all of those things, the charisma, all of those things that are attributes of great leadership. What makes Dr. Ammons absolutely different, peculiar, preferred?
I would say, but first of all, that my mother said to me, "Look at your hands, son. Are all your fingers even?" No, they're not. So there will always be greater people than you or myself, and there will always be lesser people than you and myself. However, I would not be the first person to say that I am better than anyone else, or anyone else is less than I. But what I would say is what the Liberian people are saying. They're tired of recycled politicians. That's what the Liberian people are saying. They're tired of people coming in and making promises and said, we'll build you houses, build you schools, and we'll buy you clothes, and we'll buy you, pay your school fee. And when they had given them some money, they do nothing else. They sit and enrich themselves. That's what the Liberian people are saying. That has to come to stop. That must be the discontinuation of the psyche of the Liberian people. No longer can we afford to tell people things and not do them with their own God-given rights and money. Everything in this society belongs to the Liberian people. We are just managers of the wealth of this nation. And when someone comes up and say that I will build a pump for you in the community and doesn't do it and turn around and say, well, I already pay you because you have eaten the money that I given to you, is the height of hypocrisy.
All right. So tell us a little more of your platform. I know you've talked about corruption as one of the issues you would tackle. What else is on your platform?
Well, the first thing that any thriving nation must do is to have electricity, as we talked about a little bit while I was before the show started. Electricity is the fabric that lends itself to wealth, prosperity. For example, if you do not have electricity, you will have the type of education that would not be accepted in anywhere, because you don't have the time to study, and you don't have the light to study by. But notwithstanding is that electricity also makes up for the means of creating things or manufacturing things or being innovative enough to create different types of things to be processed. But let me give you an example of what electricity, in my estimation, will do for the Liberian people and housewife. If the lady goes to the housewife goes to the market and buys palm nuts that have been cut from the tree, she has to come home, boil it, beat it, sift it, and then pour it in a pot to make palm butter. But if we have the mechanism to go ahead and fix those processes so that she will have a block of palm butter from the supermarket already made, perhaps even some of them already seasoned with the fish or whatever inside of it, and you just put it in the pot and go on and fix it, that would alleviate a lot of problems and wasted time in the Liberian setting. So the Liberian housewife then will not have her time wasted, but that she can be doing other things. So electricity is important because manufacturing will be created, and people can do things that were manual. They can do it with processes aided by electricity. I want also education to be the hallmark of our administration. Why? Because we have to compete with the rest of the world. Therefore, when you are hired through job creation, number 3, in the Ammons government, I will simultaneously allow you to go to work from 7 to 12:30. You see, that's not sufficient time. Yeah, that is sufficient time, because one of the things that we do not recognize in the tropic countries close to the equator is the sun. The sun is up between 12:30 to 2:30, hot like hell. And if we observe those type of things, and we say you go to work from 7 to 12:30, go home, relax from 12:30 to 2:30, and then get up again and go to school. Because I will put it behind you for you to go to school and get an education. You go to school from 3 to 6 o'clock, go home and start, relax, study, and start your work again. I will do that for the next 10 years. Because while I'm doing it, I am hiring at the same time 30,000 people per month, which is going to be 360,000 people per year. And after 10 years, that's 3.6 million people that we would have hired. albeit we're still not there yet because unemployment will still be higher because in the next 10 to 15 years, our population growth is going to be at 10 million or above. And if we cannot feed 5 million people today, how then will we be able to feed 10 million people later on? Not by manual labor, not by going and cutting the green and saying we got market, not by the lady running up and down the street and saying peanuts here, peanuts here, peanuts here. No, we can't do that any longer. We have to make the economy work for the people by creating jobs, by educating them. And third and fourth, and by making sure that they have suitable health care, that they can go to the doctor, and I would take $20 out of their paycheck every month. $10 will go towards death barrier so that you will no longer have to, when your family people die, and say, oh, y'all please help me, or y'all please give me small something so I can bury my child, bury my mom, bury my pie. No, that will be a password in the Liberian setting. No longer will anybody be saying that to ask for help to bury the dead or loved ones. But at the same time, we're going to make darn sure that you will go to the hospital every month so that you will be checked out and you pay only $10. If the medicine is $100, you pay $10. If the medicine is $1,000, you pay $10. That's correct. That's what's going to happen in an Ammons government.
Let me quickly jump in. Let me quickly jump in. You right now in Liberia, what can you put your hand on as the most important thing to change in that country right now if you were given the opportunity come October 10th this year? What is that one burning thing right now? You're right there. You can see everything around you. So many things happening in our country, and you're aware. But what is that one burning thing?
Apart from what I just said, electricity being the foremost thing that needs to be implemented immediately, I want to make sure that education and the children are taken off the street, both in the prostitutional way or in a marketing type of a way, running up and down the street to make a sale. I want to take those children off the street. I want so that even if you're 36 years old and did not graduate from high school, when I kissed that Bible and said, I become president of Liberia, you would have graduated on that day. I would make damn sure then that when you graduate on that day, that there would be an option for you to go to junior college. And that junior college, when you go to it, you have the ability to finish your high school education, because you can be in high school and with kids that are, are 17 and 18, and you be grandma and grandpa in high school. So I will move or segregate those elderly people out of the way, put them into junior colleges so that they will be able to make a decision whether they're going to go on and become a professional after 2 years. First year is just learn everything you should have learned in high school. And then the next segment of the 2 years, you decide you want to be a professional person, electrician, nurse, carpenter, and so on and so forth. And the other would be that you go to a 4-year university.
So you want to make education one of your priorities. But let's look at the lack of rule of law in the country. Dr. Ammons, you know what is happening in that country. And then the culture of impunity. People do whatever they want and they get away with it. The three branches of government just corroded to the point that the country is rotten. The lack of rule of law. What will education do outside of the lack of rule of law? What will education do outside of the culture of impunity? So, haven't you seen these things as part of the fixables, the immediate fixables?
Well, you see, we have Supreme Court Chief Justice now, I believe, is trying to put these things together. And I think she needs to be given the chance to do that. However, the time frame to create a more legal system that is going to be accessible by the citizenry, that is going to be fair and beneficial to the Liberian people. That particular type of a system must be ready to be looked into assessed, analyzed, and say, will we go forward with the old model, or must we have a better model to go with? So therefore, the legal system in Liberia has to go through a revamp, so to speak. It must be updated. We cannot do the same things that we used to do before. And then secondly, the level of impunity where people get away with different kinds of things simply because they're at a higher level of authority and therefore feel that they must escape punishment for what they have done, to me, begs for a correction in the society. We must not do that. We must get together as a civil society and say that there are things uh, that we do that other people are watching us. You can't go ahead and take things or take bribes or have drugs coming through the country and you do nothing about it and think that you will get away with impunity. So therefore, we have to look at every segment of our society. And the reason for that is we have we have been the big brother in Africa. We have sat in different seats in high places around the world, including the Security Council, United Nations, and so on and so on. We have developed the OAU, and we fly different ships on the ocean with the Liberian flag. We have been counsel to different governments. We have been aiding in different people to become to be able to lead their countries. We have put together organizations. Why is it that the oldest country in the world that has the kind of resources that we have included happens to be the poorest nation in the world, and certainly beggars? We have become beggars in the world, and we're supposed to be able to talk to people, to harness the goods that God has given to us and put it in such a way that it become profitable to us so that our nation can prosper. Instead, we got Sierra Leone and Guinea, who we used to laugh at, and Ghana, and they all have surpassed us, and we're still lagging behind, asking, can you please give me small something? I curse small something in the mighty name of Jesus, because from now on in, I want you to ask for big things instead of small something.
So, the multiplicity of political parties in the country and multiplicity of candidates, by the way, who want to be president. At this recent signing of the Farmington Peace Declaration around elections, there were about, I believe, 21 or 22 political parties or whatever. Are you running on a political party or as an independent candidate? And two, do you not see anybody in the race who believes similarly as you that you could join with to build a strong alliance?
It's always good to coalesce or to collaborate and so on and so forth. But first, to point out, no, I was not part of the farmers gathering simply because we had not yet been certificated. Now I'm told that we gotten green light to be certificated sometime by the end of this month. I've been saying that, singing that song for the longest, but we've been meeting the requirements of NEC, and hopefully, finally, we have gotten them to get to the point to visit our headquarters, and which is the Greater Action Party of Liberia, GAPL. And they have concluded that yes, we are viable, we're ready, and we have received the letter to say we're satisfactorily ready to be certificated as one of the parties in Liberia. Now, as far as the multiplicity of parties, I don't have a problem with it, because that's what democracy is all about. Sooner or later, we'll all come together, coalesce, and collaborate, and and merge or morph into one or two entities. So that would be always the case. However, even that particular system needs to be looked at, which means that, are we ready to say that you open up a political party to leverage it so that you can make money. I don't think that's the reason for a political party. The reason for a political party is to espouse the interests of the Liberian people and to tell them what is it that you want to do on their behalf, so that when you rule or get into the rulership position, that you'll be better able at it. But notwithstanding, do not leave the others out who are equally capable of running government also. So therefore, what I would do in the Ammons government, I would, if I were to be fortunate to win, I would definitely want to hire Mr. Cummins and Mr. Borkai, and I would not leave out the CDC and say, oh, because my party won, so therefore we're going to be the one who's going to be doing everything. No, we're going to invite everybody, because this is Liberia. This is not GAPL. This is not CDC. This is not Unity Party.
So in the Liberian way, it will not be your own time to eat.
No, there should not be anybody's time to eat. I am not running to be president to eat money. I have lived a very good life, and if God was to take me today, I would say, thank you, Lord. But I cannot afford to leave right now, because we are on a journey, and our movement is to set Liberia straight and make it a prosperous nation as it once was, and even better.
So I got this question for you. You want to go quick? You got
No,
something?
go ahead. Okay. Yeah, I could go.
Right.
So there's this concern, Dr. Ammons, that people go to Liberia or even in Liberia, form political parties, and talk about all of the great things they want to do, but their goal actually is to join another group to get recognized, so they can join another group of political party and get jobs. So once your party goes and joins with the other party in a coalition arrangement, whatever the case may be, then you can get appointed to some job tomorrow. Is that part of your consideration here?
No, I'm not running as a dog catcher. I'm running to be president. Dog catchers are those who want to be able to get some of the crumbs. I'm not ready for crumbs. I want to lead. I want for Liberia to be second to none. I want to let the Liberian people that you have suffered long enough. It is about time that this shit turns around. Excuse me, this ship turns around, and so that it can better sustain the lives of the Liberian people.
So let's look at it from the perspective of Dr. Ammons. You just be on the brink of being certificated. So it means nothing much is known of Dr. Ammons and Liberian politics. The question is, we know you. Where you coming from? Who is this guy? He's just a new guy on the block. We know you. How much money he got? I wonder that when he and his family will vote for him. All of those things are the things that people are concerned about. How well are you known in the country? And how late are you now? Just about to be certificated, when we are got banners all over the place. He got billboards. In fact, he's the incumbent, and you trying to go in and seat this guy. Just the other day, you just showed up on the block. Dr. Ammons, answer these questions.
The race is not to the swift, but
Okay.
the one that endures. So what happens is that I'm not concerned about being last to start. But the people who started first got problems, because their dirty laundry is being exposed. So what has happened is that when the people have gotten tired with all of the nonsense that have been portrayed up and down, that we can do this and we can do that, I have not seen where anyone since Tolbert have moved Liberia further than where he had placed it. So now, if you can't do that, get out of the way. The Liberian people are tired of recyclable politicians. I am not sitting here to try to join another party, or running rather to join another party for a job or a position. Now, that doesn't mean that I would not be helpful. But look, I have visited 24 countries in the world. I've eaten some of the best food, lived in some of the best places, built 3 houses in the United States, very educated. Now, you want me to set up for second best? No. However, if it is a position that will help the Liberian people move forward, there's always consideration. But in the meantime, what I have to do is to make sure that I become the winner of the contest. And it is a contest. This is not my power farm. I wasn't born to be president. My pa don't own Liberia. And so nobody can say, I got to be president. No. When the Liberian people speaks, who should be the person to rule this country? I don't care if they voted for a snake to be president. I would say that you're poor and Kati. But in the meantime, we're going to run this race and make sure that the best man wins. And should the best man win and it isn't me, I would take off my hat and say, congratulations. But if I am the one that wins, then I hope that everyone will be willing to work with me.
Quick question before Alphonso comes in. Let me just follow up. International contact is very critical to becoming president. People were running around the place. Oh, George, we are playing international football. The man got contact. Since that man became president, how many people been there? How many presidents have visited Liberia? Except from my knowledge, probably Malabio, who went for LU commencement. I don't know of any other. And he didn't go as a result of being, visiting the country on probably the what you call the invitation of the Liberian government. He was invited by the University of Liberia as keynote speaker. I could be corrected, but international contact is critical. Dr. Ammons, you've stayed in this country for years and years. What will you do to bring people to Liberia? Investment. You say you talked about $100 million. That's water under the bridge. But what will you do in the coming days if you were to be president? Because internally we have nothing, and externally our diplomacy, our international contacts drained. Can you resurrect Liberia on the international map?
To answer your question, yes, I can. But also, your question also should have included that most of the investors have left Liberia. Why? Because we haven't put a forth effort to create an investment atmosphere. There are people in the United States and elsewhere that are looking for a place to invest their investment dollars. But if they cannot come to a place that is conducive enough, or if the money is that they put in here in this country is being stolen, or if the managers are saying they can't find it, no one is going to come here and put their hard-earned dollar in our economy. It will not happen. I tell you that one for free. Okay? It will not happen. I have sat with the likes of Warren Buffett's vice president of administration and told him the plight of Liberia. They had sent a plane. Warren Buffett's son was sent over here behind my back to make sure that what I said to them, and I wasn't saying anything bad, I just said that Liberia needs help. He sent his son over here to investigate. When he came here, ask your BB people. They put money, he said they asked him to put money on the table. He said, I'm Warren Buffett Jr. You haven't heard about me before? And they said, no. This man never seen money before. He's a multi-billionaire. He don't see money. That's his signature. I have sat with the vice president of that concern. I have put together people in Dallas, Texas. I'm one of the person who was instrumental in making sure that the Cowboys moved from Irving to Arlington. That's not a small feat. I have sat with people with one that had money, including what's his name, Jerry Jones, and I want to be able to extend that type of camaraderie to other people like Oprah Winfrey and to Tyler Perry and so on and so forth, because they're taking that investment dollars and taking it to other African nations. That doesn't mean that we don't like the other African nations, But Liberia was first and always had been the big brother in Africa. Why has we slid it away so far down the abyss that it looks like there is no room to return? Somebody must rescue Liberia and bring it back to where it belongs. And I am telling you that I am willing to be the one who will be able to do that and sit at the table with people that have money and say, the atmosphere is good. You will be able to make your money in Liberia and make a profit. That's what money people are looking at. If you can't create that type of an atmosphere, money will not come here.
Thank you. Let me just quickly go to intermission before you come in. It's about a minute after 8 o'clock. You're here in the company of Dr. Telford Ammons, a presidential aspirant representing the Greater Action Party of Liberia. He's currently in Liberia. His intent is to run for president on October 10th this year. We've been covering some grounds, his platform, his vision for Liberia, what he intends to do. If you just join us, we say welcome to Daniel J. Colley Jr. Daniel Colley Jr., I beg your pardon. Francis Donor, who is also in Monrovia, Thomas Awaji. A lot of you here tonight, Mapuho, Maria Gardell, Emmanuel Jackson, Edward Neefor, Dr. Manin Sumo, Godwin Wiado, Edith V. McIntosh, my own sister, my own mother, my own aunt, my own Baptist girl. Welcome to the show tonight. Adiaha Umo, all the way in Australia. We say thank you for joining us. Alvin Penu, continue to invite others to join us here tonight. We want to see the comments. We also want to remind you that we'll be doing the what type of country is this? At some point, we also have the memory lane, just a short piece concerning April 14, 1979. I'm Volcano, Shelton, Alphonso, Nyenuh. We're here tonight together, so we hope that you're going to have a great time. Continue to watch, continue to stay there. Alphonso, before you come in, I just like to do this. There's a young woman who is now, trending on Facebook. She did a mock, I would call it mock practice, because they were practicing just behind the scene, and somebody video tipped her. But man, you need to listen to this lady. It's just for entertainment. Facebook, this is something that was pre-recorded. We have no copyright to this performance, so please do not kind of interfere with our broadcast tonight. So let's go to that and let's enjoy it for a minute, and then we'll open the lines right after that. The line will be simultaneously open as we continue to engage Dr. Ammons. Thank you for being there with us. Stay tuned.
When I started out, it was just a matter of seeing you every day. I look forward to the time, hope you will come my way. Oh yeah, along just to see you, what's mine, just to reach you. I became a victim of the very song I said. You give me brand new reasons to stop fixing up on my face. Having come to the very best, I'll take up just for two. Got rid of loneliness. Now that I have you, I became a victim of the very song I sing. And I've been listening to myself. Enough but about the Lord. I don't want nothing else. No, 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 no. Don't worry about my tomorrow. You for my future. As long as I've been satisfied, I don't want nothing else. No, 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 no. And already I've been left at home. Woo. I want nobody to make some man leave a girl all alone. and not a woman. It's a thing. Telling others. I'm a big dad.
You better sing this song, man. Yeah.
Wow. So, man, listen, with everything coming out of Liberia, what type of country is this? Look at what we have here. This girl is a masterpiece. I've sang all my life, from baby boy to now an adult, even though I didn't make the big leagues. When we were singing, there was not the technology today, probably like we are recording artists. But I know when I hear the raw material in someone's voice, just a little bit of brushes here and there, she's a masterpiece. Because this song I grew up on. In fact, I danced this song when I was in the third grade. You know, back in the day when we have a little school dance.
Talent.
And yeah, no, school dance. The
School dance. Okay.
dance. Yeah, I was in the third grade. I remember. This is Candy Statham, Victim. This song was a hit song. My mom used to love it. And I mean, back in the day, we're talking young girls who were coming up. That was the jam. And this girl nailed it. I'm telling you. Listen, Dr. Ammons know the song I'm talking about here. I'm surprised that you don't know Victim.
Oh, I do, but I was wondering. I do know Victor. I was wondering though if Dr. Ammons danced to that song when he was coming up.
Can we hear from you? That was not when you were a reverend doctor, right?
Reverend doctors can dance too.
Yeah.
They have some fun.
Yeah. But the point there, Volcano, as you said, that's really great and raw talent. And I think that's one of the things. Liberia does have a lot of talented people, by the way. The question is, why haven't we been, and can we have a plan going forward to cultivate this talent and turn it into something else? Very quickly, I believe it was in 2008 or so, I read this magazine while doing a course, and the Nigerian economy overtook the South African economy. And one of the contributing factors was into the Nigerian art and entertainment industry. It fell off, of course, the Nigerian economy fell off, South African economy took over as the largest economy in Africa at the time, because the price of oil has dropped, and also because Nigeria hadn't diversified its economy. But the point I'm trying to make is entertainment and the arts are really critical. One of the major places in this country where there's money is where? Las Vegas is all of these places. So definitely, maybe Dr. Ammons can talk a little bit about what an Ammons administration would do with promoting arts and entertainment industry in Liberia.
Let me just quickly, before you come in, remind folks the line's open 404-272-2808, 404-272-2808. Let's talk tonight. Call in and let's engage Dr. Ammons. It's important to hear from him. I know we can ask all of the questions, so you, our viewers, and you listening out there in Liberia, calling and engage him. Ask the fiery question. You're looking for a president right now. You need to nail him. I'm sure he's ready for any question. So call. Go ahead, Doc.
First to begin with, let me just preface that by saying my 95,000 people that you earlier alluded to has been more than that, because I've had 200,000 followers following the Spoon Show. But not to pat myself on the back, the reason why I brought that up is to say that I was surprised that the Liberian people was following that closely.
When you said the Spoon Show, you mean this platform being the spoon, or because you're in the issues room? Don't come give no spoon. You are.
I think it was
okay.
The IT room. So, anyways, the fact of the matter is this: is that we are lacking in promoting talent in Liberia. I mean, we've been trying to put talent together since the day when Miata Fambole have been going the street, of the Sherman sisters, and so on and so forth. And so we had lacked in that area. And one of the things that I want to do is to make damn sure that the Liberian people put aside money to effectuate the arts in Liberia and make it profitable, because it is a profitable industry. We are almost some, so to speak, the last people that get on the wagon, simply because we are so damn concerned about being fed for only one day. Because why? We haven't been looking towards the future to be fed for a very long time. So yes, these are some of the things that anyone who becomes president must look into, and must begin to influence, and must be able to create funding so that to make these type of things happen.
Thank you. I know your party has not been certified according to you by the National Elections Commission, but I want to assume you've been talking to potential voters. You probably have been traveling outside Monrovia and around the country. What are you hearing from on the ground, from the people? What do they want of their leaders, and what are some of the complaints that they have?
First of all, the Liberian people are tired of the same things being said again and again. Oh, we'll make things better. Oh, we'll pay you house. Oh, I will pay your children's school fee. Well, those things are not in they're no longer viable. And the reason why they are not is because it sounds like sounding brass and tinkling cymbals. So what happened is this: is that in an Ammons government, we want to make sure that when we go to do things for people, we're going to do it en masse. In other words, we're not going to sit down and try to try to make tell people that we're going to be doing certain things for whom number A, when whom B to Z needs help. We want to do things across the board. So the people are saying they're tired of politicians that are
Doc,
been running around.
I have an international call here. Let me take this caller. Since you already know what the people are tired of, let's hear from him. Then you can just continue on.
Go
The
ahead.
caller is calling from an international number. I believe is Liberia. Good evening. Welcome to the Issues Room.
How are you, Volcano, Alphonso, and your studio guest? This is Francis Duno Sr. calling from Liberia. Please rebuild again.
Quickly, yeah. Welcome, Francis. Any question for Doc?
Of course I do. My first question is the question you asked earlier. Is Dr. Amma, you are joining the race very late, even though you answered that question, but I want to ask the question again. Liberians' political culture is about knowing people. If they don't know you, even you can have all of the brilliant ideas, you can have money, evident by what we saw with Vani Sharma 2005, what we saw with Alexander Cummings 2017. Liberian people told them, we don't know you, and besides that, you guys have not contributed anything when it comes to our political discourse. At least, I've been around the corner a little bit when it comes to political history in this country, Liberia. What have been your contribution, considering everything that you're talking about? That's number one question. My number two question is the issue of the Liberian definition of multi-party system. The last time I checked, it was 22 political parties after National Election Commission admitted EFF, they called them Economic Freedom Fighter. Now you're talking about your party has not yet been accredited as a political party, registered political party in Liberia. So we got less than 7 months to October 10, 2023 election, and you're talking about qualification requirements and admission and all of that. Now, considering our political culture and the way we understand political opponents, evident by what we see George CDC doing, When the president said Liberians like us that talk about the bad governance, we are enemy of the state, his partisans, his followers, his government workers, they're all considered enemy of the state. And that enemy of the state it is not the way you think about it, it is in real time. Okay? So what benefit will the people give when you are another political parties to what we already got? We got 22 right now. If your own is accredited and approved by Election Commission, that will be 23. Number three, you are being in America according to your own admission. What contribution have you carried on in this country? What kind of awareness and what suggestion have you provided to the governance process of our country since the inception of the war and after the war, post-war Liberia? Those are my 3 questions.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope that your guest can answer my questions. Thank you.
He's right here. We'll put fire on him.
Well, caller, I don't know your name. I forgot.
He's Francis.
Francis, thank you for those questions, those 3 questions. But let me say this to you. If we get to the place where we say that your contribution to Liberia must be a litmus test before you run for president, it's not in the Constitution. Secondly, if I were to tell you how many people that I have helped in this country in the last 45 years, you don't have enough copybook to write in and to tell them, oh, I'm sorry, oh, the good doctor helped you, but I wasn't able. Third, what have you done to Liberia for Liberian people yourself so that you can make this country better? Because it's not the task of one man to help everybody. And that is not a reason why a person must help somebody else before they can use their talent to run for an office. So we need to put those things aside and don't make them one of the tests or the litmus test for a person to run for office. Because every one of us is accountable to each other. Okay? So now if I were to go, you would say, I'm not running for office, so you can't ask me that question. But you two are still accountable to help somebody. So the people who I have helped, let them go ahead and talk it. I will not talk it, okay? Secondly, if you go in Pinsville over there, you see Victory Church, we the one who to give it to that church. We, the Ammons family, gave that property to Victory Church. You know what else we have done? Because lots of poor people live in Pinsville. That used to be our farm. Okay? Do you know how many people my father helped by letting them pay $100 for a lot in Pinsville? And my mom used to get vexed with him and say, why are you selling the land so cheap? And he said, if we don't help them, who will? That's how come you got plenty of poor people in Pinsville, red light today. Okay? Now, the son of Iger Ammons is running for president. And where's my pa? Thank you to say thank you for what you did for us. And we're glad that your son running for president will help him out. I hope someone will be able to say that. Now, so my contribution is just as good as your contribution. I will not talk about yours, but the only thing I can say about mine, I have too many people along the way, and I don't want to talk about it. As far as political party is concerned, as I said before, the more the merrier. Look, there's only going to be one president. You can have 50 parties, 100 parties. There's only going to be one president, Papa. And when the Liberian people have spoken, there will only be one president. So don't have your head about how many parties we got. Because as I said earlier, they were all one time, one way or another, morphed into one. And that's how it's going to work. Okay? Now, your first question and your last question is just about the same because it bends on contribution to society. So my contribution right now to Liberian people is to help to put Liberia back on the map where it belongs. So that when I die, because I have less years ahead of me than I have behind me. The years I have behind me, they're more.
You're trying to say you and Baka on the scene.
I would not talk about Mr. Bokai's age because age is a number and he can be just as good in his mind. Neither would I talk about Mr. Cummings' age because of his youngness. Okay, each man has a right to make a contribution to society, whether they're young or old. The Liberian people must speak and say which one they want to choose.
And then just before we fall off track, you were talking about what the citizens are telling you, their concerns, and what the
Yeah,
best.
so the citizens are saying that they're tired of the same old. They want something new. They want to change. And they are saying to me, Dr. Ammons, then that means that you must be the change agent for Liberia. And we will be willing to put our votes behind you. Gone should be the days of people having to give you money for your vote. If anybody gave you money for you to vote for them, eat the damn money. Okay? Eat it. But you know what? Use your head. Don't sell your soul for money or for a bag of rice. Use your head right this time and do what is right for the Liberian people, because each vote counts and you must do what is right.
So it seems to me that you're saying, Dr. Ammons, that you will in your campaigning that you will not give people money and you will not give people rice who are in need of food, etc., etc. What will be your campaign approach then? Just telling them what you would do? Because we've heard, I mean, you've laid out really brilliant ideas in terms of a platform, in terms of what you would do if you were elected. But we've also heard those things from other people before. I mean, everybody's talking about education and road network and electricity. So it's one thing to talk about those things. Um, and it because the people have heard these things so much, you go and just tell them and walk away. It might just be, well, oh, he's another person who's coming to tell us about these same things. We've been hearing it our entire lives and nothing has changed.
I think we have forgotten the tradition of our rich society that when a stranger is in the midst, you offer him a cola.
Mhm.
And I have gribble myself and some salt with it. That's why I've been telling them, where my cola? Where my salt? That doesn't mean that if I got money, I must not help my brothers and sisters or the people are that less in need. Most Liberian, 85% of the Liberian people need help. And I would not sit down here and say that if I got money, I would not give it to them because of their situation. But I'm saying that that must not be the first thing that is required of a candidate. It must not be how much money you're going to spend on us. The first thing ought to be, what is it that you can do to change my life and make my life better than what it is right now? And that's what I'm telling people. If I can change somebody's life along the way, then my life will be worth living. That's what I want to do. I want to be able so that if I lay down and die today or tomorrow, that I can say that I did something better as my father did for the Liberian people, so that their lives would be better than what it is right now.
Dr. Amos, have you started contemplating what type of government you're gonna put together? Because right now we see the issues on the grounds is who former Vice President Boyka gonna select as his running mate. Have you started thinking what type of government?
Uh, if a person who's running to be president hasn't yet thought about a government or what kind of a government should be reflected on the horizon, then that person is playing around. I think that the government that Liberia needs is one that is educated, smart, unselfish, not looking out for themselves, and want to put this nation back on a track where it belongs. So I would be looking for people who will come in with expertise and ideas to make this country better than what it is. You know why? Because the money that we get as investment dollars must be used for those purposes. And if you do that, on the back end of it is profit. Now, who says that you cannot make a profit Or who says that you cannot be congratulated or compensated for your hard work through various type of incentives? I think that we need to move away from government hiring the majority of the people, which is about between the mark of 750,000 to 800,000 people, government hires. And the rest of the people are between 2 to 300,000 people in the private sector. So about 1 million people are hired, which is about 15% or less than the workforce in Liberia. We have to do better. So what I'm saying is that the government that you put together must be reflective of the different people in the nation. We want to make sure that some of the people in the diaspora will be chosen so that they can come and use their expertise. And let me tell you why. Because the diaspora, they are worth $15 billion. Liberians in the United States and elsewhere are worth $15 billion. We need to find out how we can transfer 15 billion or some of it into Liberia so that it will develop and grow better than what it is. In the meantime, we make entrepreneurs of
Let me
people.
just follow
so
up
they
with
can-
Alphonso, then you come
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Go ahead.
So I talked about that, but you also mentioned education as one of the hallmarks of your intention if you became president. But let's look at the security situation in the country. It's in peril. It's horrible. Armed robbery, the young at risk youth, all of these things. I'm sure where you are tonight, some kind of crime is going on right around you, and you don't attract rather investors in that kind of environment. Are you concerned? Look at your police force in the country. Underpaid, underdressed, no resources. Your military, 2,000 men to protect 5 point something million people. Your different security apparatuses are all underfunded. The Drug Enforcement Agency, all of those different, security platforms are underfunded. And we still talking education. How can you go to school if you're not safe? Are you contemplating addressing the security situation in the country? Because that's
Well,
the only way you can bring foreigners. That's the only
if,
way you can bring investment.
if
And tell us
that's
how you do that.
one of the ways.
Please tell us
One
how
of,
you do that.
one of the ways you can bring foreigners is to make sure that there's safety in the place in which they come to put the investment dollars. But now let me say this: within our platform, we talk about security. There must be heightened security in order for investment to come in or investors to come in. No one wants to come to a country. First of all, you put your money in, they steal it from you. Your principle is that investment is less than what you take out with you. In other words, you don't make no profit, but the money you brought in, you say, "Oh, let me get out of here," because even the 1,000 I came in with, now only taking back $300. Okay, so I'm being ridiculous to make a point. Or if $1 million and you didn't make any money, but you're only taking back 200,000 now because everybody now eat your eyeball, as they say in Liberia. So the thing about it is this. Let's start with the security apparatus. The military must be willing to make sure that the infrastructure of the nation are secure. That's and the people that are elected are secure. The military must be able to take care of that. The police must be willing to take care of the citizenry from and keep them out of crime and keep them from being bothered by crime. But if the police themselves is aiding and abetting crimes, then that is a problem. But what I want to do is this. I want to make sure that each policeman starting off will get $300 per month. If I find a police officer taking money from a citizen, I will disrobe you and dismiss you. I will say it again. If a police officer begin to harass the citizens, and want to take money from them, I will disrobe you and you will be arrested and you will not work for the police force any longer. But if you want to make sure that Liberia is a better place, I will give you $300 every month and I will give you incentive to make more.
But I was going to say,
As far as crime is concerned,
Doug, in 21st century,
as
Liberia,
far as crime is concerned,
hold 1 second here. $300 to pay a police officer for your security, for investment security, for foreign dignitary security, to ensure that your country is safe. $300. Is that what you're going to tell the policeman right now?
That's a start, but it's better than what they have been making before. So it's a start. That doesn't mean we'll stick there, because we have to look at what kind of revenue we're going to be bringing in. We're going to have to look at what borrowing is going to look like. We're going to have to look where our deficit is and what our long-term liabilities are before you go ahead and make a type of commitment. Yeah, I could say a police officer should make $1,000 a month, but I would be foolish in saying that, haven't yet understood the infrastructure of the type of resources that we have.
You don't want to be like George. We are government, big budget, but people still not getting paid, right?
Exactly. There's all of this nonsense about, free education and all of that. Would teach us depleting their tenure and going elsewhere. You don't do that. That was not properly planned. Or you say that you're going to have homogenous type of a pay skill thing in government, but yet and still when you go to one department or one ministry versus another, there is a imbalance. No, you don't do that. And then let me also point out, while I'm talking about the security, even leadership in any government, though they have their strengths and their weaknesses, but let me just say this to any leader or government or official: when you go on a conference and it includes those who have had problems with us, or that you feel that there has been some type of a inequitability within the sharing of wealth, let me serve a notice to you. Do not take people's dirty laundry and wash it in the front yard. It's not good. It's not good manners, as my mother would say. Okay? We know what the multilateral nations have done. But if you're smart enough, you know that most of these things are done because of profit. It's profit driven. A man would sell his mine down the river just to make a profit. That's how sometimes business is. So when you go there to these conferences and throw those things up in people's faces, we're not going to be getting any money from it. They're not going to give up one damn cent. They will send you home like a cut-tailed dog. So please, don't do that.
Okay. So Dr. Ammons, you've talked a lot about, international investment, bringing investors into the country, etc., which is a good thing. Can you tell us a little bit about what you will do to generate revenue and resources on the ground with our resources, and all of that, which is something you haven't really touched on?
That's a damn good question. Thank you very much for that. Let me say this to you. Revenue are generated by the resources that our nation has. That's one portion of it. But how you go about leveraging your resources is another. I don't think that the Liberian managers have ever learned how to manage and leverage their resources. It takes skills to leverage your resources. And so we want to be able to increase in the first year from $3 billion to about $6 billion in the first year. I've done the math, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm an accountant, okay? And in the second year, we want to go further, but it depends on your resources, your skill resources. And if you got enough skill resources, then you can increase productivity by doubling it But if you have less skilled resources, it takes a longer time. Secondly, if you have people who, product that aren't sold for profit and but it's still being grown rather, then we need to deplete those type of things that just make up, because someone wants to go into agriculture. Third and foremost, we have to consolidate farmers with similar skill sets to do certain types of things to grow them better and faster so that the food production will be greater for security purpose in the nation.
Quick
You,
question.
you talk about doing the math. Oh, sorry. Okay,
Let
go
me
ahead.
just answer that question quick from one of our viewers here. He says, how do you address the security issues at the borders?
Well, one of your big men told me that they didn't know how the minerals were leaving the country, and I said bullshit, because if you are in charge of the nation's resources, then you are to be able to know your tangible resources where they are and make damn sure that someone is there at all times to so that none of your resources are going to be growing legs and walking away. So what I would do, those would be the first places that I would make sure that are highly secure. I mean, it's like we have no confidentiality in Liberia. Everybody knows where our places are. Some people can just walk in there and do whatever they want to do. No, those places should be confidential, and they should be secure so that we can maximize the things that we're getting and not take our birthright that God has given to us and sell it away foolishly just because someone's going to put a few dollars or thousands of dollars in our pocket. And we say, yes, sir, go ahead and go to the gold mine and look and see where you want. Bullshit! What it is.
So, Alphonso, quickly, one more question from you because we have other segments to go.
Exactly.
Doc, if you want to stay here, the way I see you getting animated, I want you to stay for this country, and we hope that you will join us here tonight and make your contribution. Okay, so let's take one more question before we roll to memory lane, and then go straight into what type of country is this.
So real quickly, one of the things, one of the gentleman who called from Liberia, one of his questions he asked is, you've been living in the U.S. all this time, and what have you done? I want to piggyback on his question a little bit, but take a different direction.
Hello.
He looks.
Oh, you look like you had.
Yeah, he kind of frozen right now.
He's frozen, right? Okay.
Yeah, the dog bark. The dog barks, so he got scared. I'm just teasing. Let me see if he's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, good. The dog scared you?
The dog scared me. The dog scared me. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, maybe I'm gonna ask the daughter back at me. Do you live in Liberia currently?
Yes,
because
I do. Look, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I've lived in and out of Liberia for the last 45 years.
Okay.
I'm in Liberia every 2 years. That's why I know all of the G's. So if you want to get in the fries, I can tell you what's going on, even in your own backyard. Okay? The fact of the matter is this. You don't have to live outside of this country to be able to be president. The law says that you must be born here. That's all it is. But now,
I thought it said 10 years of residency.
No.
10 years of continued residency. Right?
Well, I've been here for continuously for the last 45 years.
I mean, you're going in and out.
Okay,
but then that qualifies me. I've been going since 2009.
Yeah.
Right. I'm here almost every 2 years in the country. So come on, I mean.
So now I know I qualify on that end.
Okay. The thing about it is this: is that when you live somewhere where your neighbor's string, where you were born and your neighbor's string is buried, you don't forget that place.
No.
You can go for years and years, you want to come back to that place again. That's why the people in the diaspora are crying to come home. And you want to tell them, say, when you come home, you can't do XYZ because you live out a year too long.
No, because there's a law. I don't.
Huh?
There's
Even if it's the law is bullshit.
The new dual citizenship law. The new dual citizenship law
because
says
you
that
cannot
you must
be born
live
in a country. Even take the great United States. If you're born in America and you live out of that country 50 years, you go back and say you're still citizen.
Yep.
Okay.
So now that's American law. Yeah.
Right. That's American law. Now, what gives us the gumption to determine or decide that a person who was born in this country does not have citizenry right to exercise it to be whatever they want to be? Let me also point out to you this. We have to stop cutting the legs of our own people simply because we don't understand the magnitude of what they can provide or give to us. We have always tried to limit our own selves and the people that we come in contact with. Oh, you do not want good. That girl I just sang, I bet you some people are gonna be saying, oh, man, let her move from here, yeah. She thinks she can sing now. Yes, you got, who she thinks she is. That's how we are. That's how stupid we can be at times, including myself. Okay? So therefore, what I am saying is this. All of those different ways of thinking and putting roadblocks in front of people, we must stop them to move ahead. We have a great nation that God has given to us, and we're still acting like foolish people in a land that God have endowed to us with many riches. We must learn now to grow up and be better than what we have been before, so that we can do better with ourselves and our brothers and sisters.
Thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 145th broadcast here tonight in the Issues Room. We're covering a lot of issues regarding Dr. Ammons and his quest for the presidency. He's covered grounds. We've been able to discuss a lot. He got a little animated because, yes, Liberia is dear to his heart, and he thinks that he's one of the best people. But we all know that our crisis really started in 1979 on this day, April 14. So Dr. Augustine Manis Sumo has been contributing here in the Issues Room with what he considers and calls memory lane. So it's 44 years ago, and today we live and witnessed the famous rice riot on April 14, 1979, aka April 14. But what in Liberia due to April? We have this 1 month of April. We got April 6, we got April 12, and we got April 14. April born them, resurrection, Sunday, Good Friday, fast and prayer. Hey, April. I don't know what's going on. That dog that hungry tonight.
The dog needs to eat.
Let me just mute some. Let me just mute some microphone here quick. So, y'all remember those days? The most common name in Monrovian household was Bacchus Matthews. When we talk Pal and Moja, LU had soup, and SDP Tottenham High had Uhuru and Ujama. But Looking Town had mosquitoes and jiggers were eating people in Yukutown. Liberia had poverty, turbo, and total involvement for higher heights. Bacchus Matthews and his pal had in the cause of the people, the struggle continues. You'll hear the news. Turbo say bag of rice will go up. Bacchus Matthews want to bring rice to Freeport and sell it for $10 a bag. But Turbo then say no. This day became the dark and innocent people died. Let us observe a moment of silence for those who died on April 14, 1979. They shouldn't have died. And let's also remember those who died on April 6th and April 12th, because we're talking the month of April. You remember Toba asked Sekou Touré of Guinea to help? Touré sent his army, and the Guinean army beat people from the streets. Monrovia was quiet. The next day, the struggle continues. He says, I come in peace. Do you know what I know? Or do you feel what I feel? And this is just a small masterpiece to bring us back to the day of April 14, 44 years ago. Doc, before we go into the next segment quickly, tell us, what has April 14, April 12, and all the Aprils done for our country? Did it take us forward, or or those different movements have kept us back and continue to keep us back? Sorry, I forgot I muted you because the dog was barking. Go ahead.
Okay, I would say that, first of all, I'm sorry that the purveyors of that time were short-sighted and did not see that there was a disservice that they were doing to their own nation. They thought they were trying to do good and move the nation forward. But you can imagine people who have been quieted for so long and wanted and yield yielding to speak out. And one of the ways that they were able to become vociferous was to come out in protestation and dissatisfaction. So we understand that, but I bet you that if you were to ask those same people, as was asked to Dr. Sawyer, did the Great Revolution work? He said no, it did not. Was it profitable? He said no. The question was, if you had to do it again, would you do it? He said, I would have a different perspective. So now, if Liberia had not gone into that turmoil, I believe that Liberia would be better off than what it is today. I don't think that Congo people would have been running Liberia all for the rest of the time, because native boys had to come out too. And native boys that were half Congo and half native needed to come out too. And so therefore, no one could keep Liberia to itself or themselves. So the natural occurrences of things would have happened. But right now, when we look back, we see a nation that have been terribly frustrated, harangued, and a nation that has been torn apart, and the moral fabric of this nation has been dashed on the ground and stepped on, and the young people don't know whether they're coming or they're going, and someone has to come up and say, my man, we got to do better than this. We must move forward, and let's put behind. Don't forget what happened, but let's put it behind, because we are all one people. We're brothers and sisters.
Thank you. Thank you, Quick. Let's roll into our continued broadcast. All right. I don't know why this guy is streaming all here tonight. But listen, Alfonso, it's time for what type of country is this?
Yep.
Doc, uh, this section is humorous, and I'm sure you will have something to contribute. Thomas Awaji, we're looking forward. I'll start with the one you just threw out here tonight. Thomas Awaji says, what type of country is this when police officers are wearing slippers on the job? Slippers on the job. And you still want to pay them $300? Eh, Doc? Eh?
To start.
All right. We have Shaggy McAfee. Hashtag what type of country is this? When LEC doesn't listen to the president. Didn't they hear the president say everybody needs to have their own CCTV? How do you expect the poor people to have CCTV when there's no electricity? How can you have CCTV, without electricity?
Does Dr. Ammons have a CCTV or only the dog?
You're barking, right? Alexander Hayes, what type of country is this? Anyone can pop up like popcorn and want to be president. Is the hunt becoming the hunted? Is that you? Are you one of the popcorns?
Maybe so.
So, what type of country is this that you want to be president for, Doc?
Well,
do you have the armor to change all the things that Liberia has become since April 14, 1979?
I would say go ahead and enjoy the humor. With in every society, if you can't laugh, something must be wrong with you.
So, what type of country is this? Where you know what the people doing now? They're boiling the water, the mineral water bottle, the 16 ounce. They're boiling it so it can shrink. Then they put the palm oil inside just for profitability. What type of country is this?
Wow.
Yeah. But what type of country is this? In addition, they're putting candle wax in the measuring cup because the rice is so expensive and they're still trying to make profit. Back in the day, they would beat the butt of the cup. Doc, you know what I'm talking about.
Right,
Doc?
I know exactly.
Oh, I'll let you know, okay? So people now are concerned that because it's visible when they beat the buck, so what they're doing now, they're pouring candle wax in the cup to fill up it so that a lot of people don't know, and then they just think that full size. But when you buy the 5 cup already, you go now only 2 cup when you measure it for real. So what?
Here's one. What kind of country is this? When people have to put sand in the rice to sell it so it can be more when you buy it.
Wow. James Davis, what type of country is this that import foreigners working in jobs for Liberians in the government, but diaspora Liberian cannot even work in their own country? You bring a Nwabudiki citizenship after fraud in the country for years, held some of the most lucrative and integrated institutions in the country on a fraudulent, and then you turn around and give your citizenship to this fraudster. What type of country is this? Well, a man lies about his citizenship. That can never happen anywhere else. Not even in Nigeria, where he comes from. They will lock you up. After you serve your time, they will deport you. But he was sworn in as a Liberian citizen. What type of country is this? What type of country is this? Francis Kangoma Duna Sr., when the leaders don't respect the citizens and are the citizens who are their employers. What type of country is this? I'm missing my man Moses. Moses, my man, if you're around, come join us here. What type of country is this? Shaggy McAfee, that favors monkey work and baboon drawers.
Wow.
What type of country is this? Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this where people have to carry their own poo-poo and pee-pee samples when they are going to see the doctor?
we did that.
The old days.
We did that. You had to do it. Yeah, take it. Yeah.
What type of country is this When information minister can come back and say, my first press conference was written wrongly, but I will write the new information. What type of country is this? We have Christopher Wesley here. What type of country is this? With small population, with abounding resources, but the people are suffering. What type of country is this?
Mm-hmm.
What type of country is this? Where when investors come, they want to eat your eyeball. Eh? And
Yeah.
that give me one, man. Come on, don't sit on there. You know the thing that you on the ground.
But they did it to him. So what type of country is this
What
when
type of country is this? You your own
Dr.
agreement.
Ammons
Yeah, your own
carry
agreement.
100 million and the
Then they want to eat your eyeball.
Yeah, what kind of country is this when you bring something to help somebody and they ask you to give them money for the help that you bring into them? What kind of country is this?
What type of country is this? Ambassador Francis Durner Sr. is where the president has refused to address his people on camera for over 5 years. What type of country is this? Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this where people have to walk through corner to find Zing room to rent? Just a Zing room to rent, walking from corner to corner.
Wow.
In the 21st century, people are renting Zing room in one little house with hallway. And even to add further, all of those houses that are so congested when one got up by fire, the whole community burns.
Yep.
The whole community burns.
Everything going on. What type of country it is that people have to put metal doors inside their homes just to, provide security for themselves?
Inside, outside, put it inside, outside.
Outside, metal doors. Suppose fire catch the house.
What kind of country is this when you have to provide your own special security for yourself?
Hey, presidential candidate.
I see no iron door to that door. That maybe the iron outside.
What type of country is this, Thomas Awaji, where everything bad happens in the month of April? April 14, April 12, April 6.
Yeah.
James Davis, what type of country is this? They're looking for investors within poor countries in Africa and don't even have anything in their own country.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what type of country is this? Every time we look into people for donation, the Saudi government donated 500,000 worth of rice, and people standing there to take picture.
Yeah.
When you have the most fertile soil in the sub-region, when you have swamps to grow rice, when you are subsidizing investors with $11 million that you can barely find, and you're happy and you call yourself a government? What type of country is this that subsidizes investors to bring rice and sell it back to the poor people? What type of country is this that celebrates when a few bags of rice is donated to the country, and then you have officials of government standing there for photo ops? What type of country is this? This is shameful. This is embarrassing. This is a travesty of all that we have accomplished as a nation since 1847, Doc. I am telling you, you use the word, we are bullshitting, and we are absolutely bullshitting. We're not ready. We're not serious. We are not serious. The trendsetter of diplomacy, the trendsetter of independence on the country of Africa is the dog tail at the end of the line. The dog tail. And we're going to national elections on October 10th, and this is the construct of our democracy. Is this the construct of the politics that we're talking right now? For real? 23 political parties all confused. Dr. Ammons in the race. He has good plans, but what has he brought to the country? Somebody ask you that? What can you do for the people? What did you do for your people? How involved are you? Where on the grounds you've been? This is the kind of country that we have now. Let's go back to the line here, or the chat room. What type of country is this? Shaggy McAfee, that's sleeping with their teacher for grades. Is now the norm. Boys and girls, no need to study anymore. That's why everyone is uneducated, Doc. Why? I remember when I was in school, the competition, you're binding the count. I used to study by moonlight. Moonlight.
Right.
I remember those days.
Right.
You wanted your name on the bulletin board that you went on a rolls. Today, the man said he's in freshman. He's a freshman in college. The boy asking to spell freshman, he's laughing. He said, my man, what kind of thing you do that to me? So he said, fresh milk. He said, fresh milk. This is a shame. This is unfortunate. What type of country is this? Raymond Clark. Brown envelope is controlling every decision of the law and our lawmakers in the country. What type of country is this? What type of country is this, Thomas Awaji, where people steal your dog to eat it? Dog. He comes back and say, what type of country is this, where another country donate the dead fruit as a contribution? What type of country is this? Alfonso, your mic is muted, I guess.
Yes, sorry, it was muted. Yeah.
James Davis, what type of country is this that its citizens are dancing for solar power lights, which is only for 9 days?
Jesus.
All the lights gone off already?
Yeah, all 9 days.
Oh my God.
9 days. And rainy season there now, so Francis Donor, what type of country is this where majority of the people celebrate ugly people that are responsible for their own poverty?
Yeah.
What type of country is this?
Yep.
And you're going to see a whole lot coming up. And the sad thing is, even if you, and the other thing that bothers me, if I stood there to make a nice little decent statement and people just filibustering, interrupting me, Zegwe, all kinds of no. So what you're trying to say is distorted, and they're gonna leave not comprehending anything you said.
That's not the purpose.
I was listening to John Balu, and I mean people just yum Jose talking about it, just all disturbing, and so you take away the meat of what this person is sharing. That's the country now. Everybody is a battle crier. What type of country is this?
Yeah.
What type of country is this, Thomas Awaji, where the entire capital city is an open marketplace? Everywhere you turn is an open marketplace. Adiaha Umu says, those days have gone where there was competition for making your grades to go on a roll. It's absolutely sad. I mean, I talk to Liberians every day. People graduating from college and can't even spell, can't even pronounce. Hey, man. The teachers themselves pronouncing phone, 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 as phone. My phone. FOAM. My phone. What type of country is this? Doug, what type of country is this?
I'm flabbergasted.
What type of country is this, Shaggy McAfee, that have more political parties than hospitals and police stations combined? Like that one. and in fact, let me add to it, Shaggy, functional political parties.
Right.
Some of those political parties are not functional. They're just one bedroom in the corner of somebody's house, and they put a little banner up there or a placard and say they're a political party. So what type of country is this where there are more political parties, not functional, but there are more than the hospitals and police stations combined? Thomas Awaji, What type of country is this where the government hospital holds you hostage?
If you don't pay
You
your
can't pay
bill,
your bills. If you can't pay your medical bills, what type of country is this? This is serious. Doc, this is serious. It's
very much.
extremely serious. It's serious. It's extremely serious. What type of country is this where we downplay the good and elevate the bad? We downplay the good in people. There's still good people in our country, Doc.
Yes.
But we downplay the good and we elevate the bad. And I'll make an example of the bad being elevated. Nathaniel McGill, after he was placed on sanction, addresses a crowd in Bond County and say other people can steal the money in the carrier, bro. When we steal the money here and we build houses here, when we die, we carry it. Yeah, they healed the man. They healed the man. In admittance to corruption, they healed him. What type of country is this? What type of country is this? Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this where the educators speak worse than the students? Absolutely. The educators speak worse than the students. What type of country is this? Francis Donor, where quality education doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. And don't get me wrong. While it is true that the system is horrible, it's in disgrace, yet they have one or two students who are studious and finding a way to learn.
Right.
And finding a way to learn. But the majority of these young people know nothing, and they are to inherit our country tomorrow. What type of country is this, Thomas Awaji, where you can start a school under the tree in your backyard? You start a school under your tree in the backyard. No license, whether you qualify to teach or not. You start your school in your backyard under the tree. Get those long benches, grab the children in the community and let them pay school fees to you when you put it in your pocket. What type of freaky country is this? What type of country is this, James Davis? That only one group of people, everyone, including security officers, are all afraid of them. The curfew commandos, they call them the Zogos. What type of country is this? What type of country is this that the Zogos have taken over the security of the country? This is a serious matter. And we're taking this for fun, but it's serious. What type of country is this, Shaggy McAfee, when your Nigerian friend sees you and asks you, how's your Buga president?
Oh, man.
What type of country is this when your Nigerian friend sees you and asks you, how's your Buga president?
Right.
Uga, I say, how is your Buga president? Let me put it in the Nigerian accent in it.
Right.
Thomas Abuaji, what type of country is this where open sewage runs through your yard? But Thomas Abuaji is not just open sewage running through your yard. There was this lady who is from the Tourism Bureau at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. I believe she's the director. And she had nabbed this Chinese restaurant opposite in the Congo town on the bypass, not far from Calabash. And she went touring, and they all ran away when the workers were around. And the sewage runs right through the kitchen area.
Right.
If you see the dirty water they were washing the dishes out of, the flies, the rodents in this place, and they serve the food from back there. I mean, cook and prepare the food from back there and serve it in the restaurant area. You tell me, see the sewage, see the toilets. Chinese people are making a mess out of our country. They run a casino, and when you go there, they do whatever they want to do. They say, oh, there's a China here, there's a China here. Can you imagine that? Under a Volcano Shelton presidency? Under a Dr. Ammons presidency, that foreigners will come and all run us in our own country, something that a Liberian man cannot do in China, a black man of black descent cannot do in China. You got Chinese coming to Liberia and feeling pompous and strutting their arms because they say the government is in the pockets. Lebanese, Indians, foreigners, Nigerians, bringing drugs all over the place. And we're sitting here looking for another president, and we're still confused about who could rather be that person, to rather stand tall. Because I continue to say that it's not about infrastructure. It's about systems. It's about policies and implementation and change. Because once you can change the fabric, the infrastructure will last.
Yeah.
Once you can regain the morals of our society, the infrastructure will last. And until you can wash the brains, the crackhead brains, the Zogo brains, the corrupt brains of lawmakers and judicial workers and the executive, my brother, my father, my big brother, nothing gonna happen. You can post skyscrapers that will take to the streets and burn it down. What is lacking in Liberia is regaining the moral conscience of our people, rebranding, cleaning up the brains, the rotten, smelly, corrupt brains of our people, that every little penny will now worth to them. If they had to do corruption, they would do it in the name of the country. But not little handouts here and there and just give our country to foreigners. That's what killing that doggone country today. Foreigners all running. You're right there. Look around you. And people taking it for granted that we will have Aquaba. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they're not going to put Bemoin or Pavois at Kotoka International Airport. They're not going to do that. Ghanaians will not do that. In fact, they are the most stubborn people, so patriotic to themselves. And you take Aquaba and put it at an international airport because you're the president and you got influence or connection to Ghana. And the hearsay is that you didn't Jackie Appiah or whatever it is. I don't care. But listen, where's the Liberianization? And people don't see these things and they continue to celebrate these kinds of nonsense. If we continue to go down this path, selecting the wrong leaders, our country will be snatched from out of our hands and we'll have nothing to show for it. I'm telling you this. It's sad. It's sad.
Prophet.
It's sad. It's sad. And you know, let me come here quick to Tyrone Marshall. He's the executive director of the Liberian Returning Network. He says here he's watching from DC. Tyrone, good to see that you're here in the country. Call me. You got my number. I will try to inbox you so we can talk. But Raymond Clark is saying here Chinese will soon open plaza, calling it Chinatown. They will soon establish a Chinatown in Liberia. It's sad. It's sad. Our country, we're losing it by the meaning, to bad governance, to corruption. And people don't see these things. I understand diversity. I understand the assimilation. But listen to me. Let me say this tonight. If anyone taking this out of context, I left Liberia and I came to America. I came with a culture. I came with my intelligence. But I was absorbed by this culture. I did not impose my culture on this country. This country absorbed me and my culture. And so that's why I conformed to be the right citizen, to be the right resident, to be the right contributor. We don't cut corners. We pay our taxes. We work hard. And imagine you talked about $15 billion from diasporan Liberians, right? The diaspora. The time we gave to the economy of these countries that we find ourselves, the work ethics, the mammoth contribution to the economy. If we all could give that back to our country, imagine how far Liberia will be catapulted Imagine that. And that is why God brought maybe the war. So some of you and I can come out of Liberia and come out of that mindset and be able to become developed and have new attitudes and new understanding of globalization. So I don't have problem with the diversity. I don't have problem with foreigners coming to Liberia. But I have problem when the laws are so corrupt, so bent, that it gives them so much privilege over their own citizens. It's not going to happen in this country, and it's not going to happen in China. And it shouldn't happen in Liberia. And that's where I have the problem. Bad governance has led foreigners to take advantage of us in our own country. That's where the problem lies. Because every Liberian working in this country, every Liberian who is a resident, every Liberian who is doing what they have to do to survive in this country is conformed to the tenets, to the laws, to the policies, to the institutions of this country. And those who cut corners, what happened? You see them all over the news, right? Right? That?
Yep.
The people who want quick wealth, the people who want fraud, the people who want to do stuff, you see
put it jail.
Yeah. No matter how long it takes. And they will be persecuted, they will be charged, they will be indicted and persecuted under the laws of America. They won't set them free and then turn around and give them citizenship if they didn't have it. In the case of Nabudiki, it is a shame. It's a shame to our country to do this to us. This government of George Weah. And if I were to be in leadership in Liberia, I would revoke Nabudiki's citizenship and I would put this behind in jail and I would ship him back to Nigeria. I would revoke it. It's a shame. It's a shame. You sell your passports out to foreigners. Let's go to Shaggy McAfee. Where there is problem, instead of finding solution, we start saying man can talk all. That's the new saying now. Man can talk all. Henry Costa, man can talk all. What type of country is this, Thomas Awaji, where the mosquitoes can't let the people sleep because they are forced to keep their windows open for air? It's hot. It's hot. The heat is on. James Davis, what type of country is this? Every doctor and nurses and communities chairman all own a local health care provider or are a local health care provider, but no medical equipment and trained nurses or doctors, but asking our people to go to pharmacy to buy medication. What type of country is this? And many of these people who are doing this stuff don't even have license. In fact, Jeremiah Kuhn said he was selling drugs, medication, as a businessman, but he's not a pharmacologist and don't understand what drugs are. And he admitted to that on an interview on Spoon TV. That in itself disqualifies him from my book. But we take these things and we run with it. And the last time I said here, Doug, we're not weeding out some of these presidential aspirants. We need to weed them out. Need to weed them out. James Davis come back and say, what type of country is this? Anyone can prescribe medications to people who's killing our people. Tyrone Marshall, this is my fight for Liberia from the hands of the foreigners. Thank you, Tyrone. And I will support you. We'll continue to talk about it. Alexander Hayes, what type of country is this? After 36,365 bags of rice was donated, the president distributed it as his project. Every donation that comes to the country is George Weah project. Every donation. What type of country is this? Supporters of the government argument is Weah can solve our 1847 problems, but the boss is doing well than all presidents combined. So I think what he's trying to say here, that people continue to argue that the 1847 problem to now is not Weah's fault, but they say he's doing well. What type of country is this? They just opened a box store called the China Mall, and the Liberian people are celebrating. Yes, because they settle for mediocrity. They settle for nothing. For them, it's a mall. They don't even know what a strip shop is. I wouldn't call it a mall. I'll call it a strip shop
Mhm.
or some department store. What type of country is this? The new China mall employees are told to lie. If not, you will be fired because the state government is in their pockets. What type of country is this? Shaggy McAfee, the Liberian citizens are third class citizens in their own country. What type of country is this? So, Doc, we'll be wrapping up here. And I'd like to say thank you so much for coming through tonight. I thought that, we cover a lot of important things here. We wish you well in your quest for the presidency. I know you're going to be claiming an uphill battle, but it's your hope and your fervent prayer that God can do anything but fail. So let's take your final word as we leave you and close this broadcast tonight.
I would like to say to the Liberian people that if you have patriotism for your nation, the place you were born, the place your neighbor's string has been buried, then you will not cause the type of things to happen in the place where you were born and allow other people to treat you unjustly and allow other people from other places to treat you less than a human being. But I want to tell you something tonight. Those things must stop. We must turn around and let's say wrong is wrong and let's say right is right. We must not go back to the old ways that we have been before or have been accustomed to. We must not trample upon our neighbors or look down on them. We must not do evil to others through poisoning or other type of a substance used. We must begin to learn to lift up each other and hold up each other's hand. That's how this country is going to grow. And that's how we're going to become better citizens of the place in which we were born. If we cannot do those things, no one will respect us, and everyone that comes here will trample over us. So I want to say to you tonight, if you believe in the quest of having a better Liberia, if you want to make Liberia a better place to live at, if you want a place where you can be satisfied at, that people are not stealing and running your house and taking things or cursing you out or killing you, then I want to ask you tonight to give me a chance. Give me the opportunity so I can turn this country around. And if I can do it in 3 years, put a referendum on me and recall me so I can go sit down. But I promise you that it will not happen because why? After 3 years, I would have proven to you that there can be a Liberia that is much, much better than this. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, Mr. Shelton, and God bless your show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, viewers, we want to thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Quickly, let me just, since Tyrone is new to it, he says, what type of country is this that turns mosquitoes into eagles at their own detriment? Okay? The citizens turn mosquitoes into eagles. All right? And I think he's been a little figurative here tonight. And James David closed up by saying that our healthcare provider can only identify 2 sicknesses in that country, malaria and typhoid. And I think they're now adding diabetes, and they're quick to give you drip. When you have diabetes, they don't even know the diagnosis, and they give you drip and they send you into coma, and you are extinguished. But listen, we say thank you so much for coming through tonight. It was a great show. We hope that you continue to be with us. Thomas Awaji, thanks so much for all you do for this platform. We appreciate your time and talent. Tyrone Marshall, good to hear from you and that you're here in the U.S. Continue the advocacy, the crusade to return our people home. James Davis, thanks for your contribution. Raymond Clark, Shaggy McAfee, thank you for coming through. Emmanuel Hayes, we say thank you to Raymond Clark. It was good seeing you here again, my brother. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Francis Dunner in Monrovia, it was good seeing you. Thank you. Adia Haumo, thanks for staying up with us. We appreciate your viewership. We say thank you to everyone who popped through here tonight. Mapu Hall, Edith McIntosh, Nimele Natwebe, thank you for coming through here. Emmanuel Jackson, we say thank you. Godwin Weado for joining us. Edita Amos, it was good seeing you, ma'am. Good to see you. Thank you for coming through. Daniel Colley Jr., thank you. Maria Gardell, S. Edward Nefor, good to see you as well. Thank you. Alvin Peno, good to see you. We say thank to all of you wonderful people. And I do this because it's important. People spend the time with you. Ram Snutton, even if they just popped in, it makes a difference. And so we're just grateful to have Priscilla Myers in the house, Kowu Gloria Voka Moba for joining us here tonight, and Dr. Manesumo and Fergie Moyu. We say thank you to all of you. My name is Volcano Shelton, the 145th edition of the Issues Room. We'll be back with the 146th on Tuesday. Have a good night.